Here we are. Hello, everyone. Hi, Lynn and Dave. Oh, yeah. Hello, how are you? Steve, you're probably out there. Joy, maybe. Lee, maybe. Angie and Dan, maybe. Some things are happening. Who else? Whoever else. Hello, hello. All right. So, what's going on? Stress reduction, stress management, key to everything. Hi, Nancy. Good morning. Michael, good morning. Yep, managing our stress is everything, key to everything. So, if you want to share anything in particular that's happening for you, Dina, good morning. If you want to share anything in particular that's happening for you, please do so. I definitely know that there's a lot of upper back and neck issues with many. That's the main complaint, which is really interesting because it's usually back that people complain about, like in a general sense. Now it's upper back and neck. So really interesting that this is happening, that it's more upper. And then what I wanted to say about that is, there was somewhere I was going with that, headaches. Backaches and headaches are the number 1 and 2 reason why people visit doctors for pain, is headaches and backaches. And one of the contributing factors to headaches is upper back and neck muscular tension. And so when there's tension in the muscles, there's less flow of nerves, body fluids. And so that's interesting as well. So I wonder if there's been more headaches. Low back, Nancy. So of course, there's still low back is in there. Hi, Yoga Steve. Love it. So great. All right, perfect. Well, I'm going to do something a little different today because I think most of you that are with me today are people who've been with me for years and, of course, in person. So I'm going to do something a little different today. I'm going to spend some time warming up our body, balancing our physical energy, and then going into breath work to balance our mental energy. And that's actually the way that it's traditionally taught. So I'm going to go back. Gardening. Yeah. Gotta love how gardening gets us sore, right? All right. So for today's practice, make sure you have a block handy, make sure you have a strap, and then a blanket and a mat. So traditionally in the practice of yoga, we would do well, first of all, there's the first 2 steps, which are more about the mind, management of our mind. So that's the way that we show up to others, our social interactions, and then it's our self-discipline. They're called the yamas and the niyamas. From there, we would go into asana, which is a physical practice. And this is to manage the physical body energy, whether that's slowing it down or grounding your mental energy into your body, or for my purpose, like for my own self and for most of the people that I work with, it's to manage the energy of the aging process, to keep us out of pain and discomfort, to keep our bodies strong and mobile and limber so we could live the life we want to live and do all the activities we want to do. So it's managing our energy in that sense. And then you come into pranayama, which is breath work. And that is the connection of the mind and the body and a way to manage mental energy, and especially mental energy that could be negative, depressive, heavy energy. So to really burn through the parts of us that worry, that are heavy energy, worrying being a part of that, and that can stimulate anxiety, which is a more quicker energy. So we're going to come onto our mats in the beginning, ground ourselves here, bring ourselves here, which is step number 1, present moment. And then from there, we'll move our bodies, keep our bodies strong and limber to be mobile. And then we will do a breath work to balance our energy in our body. So make sure lock on our belly. And If you don't have a block, get a blanket that you could fold up or a towel. So even a towel is better than a blanket. You want something pretty firm because we're going to use it on our belly for reference of doing really deep breathing. And then we'll place it underneath our pelvis to actually help to lower blood pressure and help support cardiovascular health, which is really important, right? Okay, so let's come here, depending on where you are. If you do have a lot of mental energy when you come to the practice, it may be a challenge to come down onto the ground right away. So let's just come here onto our bodies, move back and forth, move your body, start to get the creaks and the kinks out of the body. And then if weight bearing on the wrists is pretty intense at first, you could come onto fingertips and be a little bit more central in your weight. So it's right over the pelvis, as opposed to back where it would be more in the hands. So just realizing that you place yourself somewhere. And that's actually what the word asana, which is the physical practice, it means to place or to sit easy or to place yourself easy. So to place yourself in a disciplined yet easy posture. So without too much struggle. So I want you to find that. Then bring your legs really wide as you start to move your legs a little bigger of a range of motion. And try to sit right out of your pelvis. And bring your legs straight. Let's imagine you're like a piston. Your legs are like pistons. One goes straight, one bends. And then come to sit right out of your pelvis. Walk yourself back, reach underneath and grab some flesh. And this may be a challenge for many of you, so I want you to notice this. This is called Dandasana, staff posture, and it's a posture of posture. We put ourselves in postures, right? Because we align our joints in position. So that's a postural presentation. And it's a posture of posture. So go ahead and bring your legs straight, point your feet, flex, point and flex. If you need to have a slight bend in your knee, or do whatever you need to do to make this comfortable or relatively comfortable. Point and flex. Then have your feet pretty wide and do a little bit of side to side. Just wiggle and let your joints be free here. Try to see if they move the same. So it's so interesting with one hip replacement and one natural hip, how my hip replacement just flies all over the place because it's a ceramic ball inside of plastic, just super movable, mobile. And then my natural hip, much more limited in what it'll do. All right, just a little fun. Come on, we got to be able to have fun with our bodies, right? We all have issues. That's one thing I want to say. We all have issues. I don't care who you are, dysfunctional patterns, issues in your tissues, all of us. Even though I do all that I do, I have a strong body, limber body, mobile body. I have one fake hip, one real hip. So that's going to bring up lots of different things inside my body to experience. All right, let's bring yourself onto the ground. This is when you feel happy to be down here, when you put yourself through a little challenge like we just did with mobility. Then take your arms out to the side. Let your legs be pretty wide here. As you let your legs go side to side, kind of let it be a little bit more of a freedom movement in your hips. So not so much that you're intentionally moving them, but rather you're allowing this upper leg bone, the largest bone in your body, you're allowing it the freedom, and you're just noticing what your body has in it. So being a little more free with your movements, kind of like throwing your back bones around. And then let's bring ourselves into this fully extended position, fully extended. Try to reach your hands really long. And then if there's no way are you doing that, try to put your hands on your shoulders and see if you're able to get your elbows to reach up and away from you. So where there's a will, there's a way. And all I ask is that you're willing for some range of motion in your joints. Whatever that is, exploring what is the range that's appropriate for you.
And then let's take our hands, flex your wrists. So the wrists are flexed like this, right? Like if I had a tray, my hands would be supporting that tray. And then you're gonna reach your hands overhead. I know that all shoulders are able to perform this task. So if your shoulders will let you, go ahead and try this. Then flex your feet, reach your heels away, reach the heels away, heels of the hands, heels of the feet. Exploring what your body will let you do or what it's capable of. And then let's bring yourself to the bent knee position. Have your feet be wider than your body and allow your knees to fall in towards each other. So this is going to be an opportunity for us to work on our posture in this position. So I really recommend this because most of us, like a super high most, let's say 90% up, have poor posture with our head in relationship to our spine. So this is going to be a little bit of the ability to start, or not just start, but to be working on the upper back and neck posture. So I'd like you to take your neck, move your neck back and forth, side to side, letting it go, whatever feels appropriate. I like to close my eyes because I like to notice where it's tight and where it's loose. And I like to notice the difference from side to side. And then bring your head back up. Let's take your elbows on the floor. So the elbows are on the floor. You're going to bring your palms or your fingertips to touch your belly. And then you're going to inhale slowly. Open your hands towards the ground. For many of you, they will not touch the ground. You're going to get to a certain range of motion. This is shoulder joint. This is the upper arm bone sitting in the joint. And depending on what issues you have in your tissues, where the shoulder blades are at the back of the body, where the shoulder bones are in the socket, these are rotator cuff tendons, some of these, or the upper parts of the muscles, and then the tendons that are on the bones. So just do whatever you can, it doesn't matter. And I recommend for those of you with upper back and neck issues and shoulder issues that you practice this often, if not daily, if you really want to start getting some mobility and range of motion in your shoulders. And then bring your arms up to the side. Now I want your hands to touch the ground. So for some of you, if you're hovering, you may need to move your hands away from your body until they come to the magic place where they will rest on the ground. Noticing where that place is. And then notice where you feel that tension. Take your heart, push your heart up towards the sky. Now, the lowest place you have the blanket for your head, the lower the head is, the more postural correction you'll do in this position. So if you have your blanket folded a lot, and you know who you are, let's see if you could unfold that blanket, coming to a more narrow, a smaller support. Even some can do 0. I put mine on the super thinnest level, so it's pretty, close to flat. And then, of course, I don't want all of you to do that because that's not appropriate for all of you. If you do it too low and you feel a lot of pulling, that wouldn't be good. We don't want that. So come to where you feel a slight tension in your neck or your chest area. Then bring your block onto your tummy, below your rib cage, near your belly button, and then arms are alongside the body. Bring the hands outside where they touch the floor. And then for some of you, you may be able to raise the upper arm bones without your shoulders disagreeing. Lengthen the back of the neck. Make sure it's the center of the back of the head that is supported by the blanket, the center of the back of the head. not the upper head where your chin is pointing up towards the sky. I want the tip of the nose to be pointing straight up towards the sky and your back and neck. Then you decide where you need your feet to be. So the feet are a little bit wider than the body, the knees are falling in towards each other to rest. You could try walking your feet away to see if that feels a little more appropriate for you. Or closer to your body. Close your eyes so you'll be able to feel more. The eyes are closed. Let's take the jaw, relax the jaw, wiggle. And then allow the lips to touch. Actually, let's do one more. Open the mouth really wide. Do it again. Open really wide. One more. In the back of the neck, let your lips touch. Sequence of and releasing tension in the joints, in the muscles, in many parts of your body. Focusing a lot on the shoulder blade, shoulder and neck area. Now, I need to be in this position, stretching some of the stabilizing muscles that hold the joints together. Spine, your shoulders. Make sure your neck is nice and long, almost like somebody gently came from behind you. Put their hands gently on your ears and the side of your head. Lengthen your head so that your neck is in a nice position. Free flow of the nerves and vessels to flow freely in your cervical spine. Lower ribs, the right lower rib, the left, can you gently activate and push them down towards the ground? They're flaring up to the sky. And then notice where you feel the stretch. Getting to a place where you know what is appropriate stretch. And it's really important to, because that's going to let you understand where you need to go safely. And to realize that you need to allow that range of motion to still exist. Out through your nose, notice the coolness of the temperature of the air. And allow your first few breaths up your rib cage. So your entire rib cage. Let your arms be heavy. Take a couple of breaths in and back towards the floor, towards the spine. And begin to bring the breath down to the belly button and below. So bring your awareness to the block that's on your belly and start to see if you could move the block with your breath. Notice if both sides of your belly are moving, if you're breathing to the left and to the right. And then with your awareness, can you start to breathe to just the left lower belly where the block is? Try to let the block move on the left lower belly. Maybe you can. Maybe that's hard for you to figure out. There's no prizes given in the practice of yoga. So it doesn't matter. Just asking you to direct your attention and your awareness to your lower left belly as you breathe down to the lower left side. Then breathe to the lower right side. Breathe back to both parts of the lower body. The more you could stay in this moment, occupying your mind with, is the block moving? Do I feel my breath going to my belly? The more you could keep your mind busy doing that, the body in the background will heal, repair, and restore. Keep your mind busy so your body can do its job of healing. And then you're facilitating this by breathing down to the diaphragm, stimulating the healing zone in the body. And then finish your last breath. Bring your awareness to the blanket. Let's move the blanket away from your head or on the very smallest fold that you can handle. And then we're going to take the block, you're going to walk your feet back, you're going to lift your pelvis up and place your pelvis on the block. Lengthen yourself away from the block. So if you push your head or your arms in, you can lift your rib cage away from your pelvis, helping to create space in that lower back area and the space between the lower ribs and the hip bones, the pelvis. Let's take your hands on your hip bones, little circles, feel those bones. Then push down on the right one and then push down on the left. Push down on the right, push down on the left. Now this is one of the pelvic movements, the side to side movement of the pelvis. Actually, during the gait cycle, during walking, there's a shift forward of one side of your pelvis when your leg comes forward, and then you switch when the other leg comes forward. And then you may experience this in the back of your body near your sacrum. As you do this, there may be a little gentle stretch near that SI joint, the sacroiliac joint, where the sacrum attaches to the pelvic bones at the back of your body. So feel this, make sure it's appropriate. And then for those of us with hip replacements, maybe with two, but even with one, you definitely, or I definitely feel some asymmetry in my body here and more stretch on one side than the other. Let's go ahead and take your arms down alongside your body. Keep the elbows on the floor and then open up your arms. See if you could get your hands to touch the floor. You may need to reach your arms away from your floor a little bit more, or the arms away from your body. And then lift your chest up for a second to slide the shoulder blades closer to the spine, supporting the rib cage so you don't collapse in your chest. And then let's take a couple of breaths down to the belly here. Try to breathe all the way around to the back, to the sides, and to the front, and down to the pelvic floor. Take one more breath. Let's take the feet, walk the feet closer, bring one knee up and then the other. Now, anything we're going to do now, you need to do what's appropriate for your body. So always make sure that wherever we're doing is okay for you. Can you take one leg up to the sky and then the other? So I need to mention here that when we elevate our pelvis, it actually has the ability to lower the blood pressure. So for those of you with blood pressure issues, this is actually supportive of cardiovascular health. The only people that should not do this are people with unmanaged high blood pressure. So even if you have high blood pressure that's managed with medications, this is safe. If you have unmanaged, you should take the block out. You could let your legs go in the air, maybe with the knees bent, but minimize how elevated you are. For those of you that are stress monsters, that have unmanaged stress, that are reactive, that are always flying off the handle and blowing up, or being very reactive to stress, you know who you are. And I'm imagining some of the people that I can imagine that may be here, or even people in my life, not me. This is going to be so supportive for those moments of blow-ups that happen for you. All right, arms are down by your side. Let's take your legs. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Inhale, point your toes. Exhale to flex. Inhale to point. Exhale to flex. Now try to keep your knees right above your pelvis or your legs above your pelvis. Don't have them too close to your body. That's a lot of tension in the body. If you need to have the knees bent a little bit more because it's intense, do that. Holding your legs up here is strengthening your legs. For those of you that want to garden and do all of the lovely stuff in life, the hip flexors are getting strengthened here. One of them being the quadricep, one of the quads, important for hip health, knee health, and gardening health. Inhale to point, exhale to flex. Spread your legs and then slow circles. Please go slow. When you go fast, you miss the nooks and crannies. You miss the potential to soften and loosen some sticky stuff that causes discomfort or not such great receptivity in your balance ability in your body. Let's slowly go in the other direction. And then we're going to do a little lower one leg. Exhale, push your belly button to your spine. Inhale, lower the other leg. Exhale, switch. Inhale and exhale. Now you could do this with one breath, one movement, or only lift the leg up on the exhale. So you could pause at the end and take an inhale here and then exhale. That's probably better for all of us. We inhale out and then we exhale to come up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Keep the one leg up and then exhale, bring the other leg up. Let's open our legs out to the side. Of course, as far as it is appropriate for you to go. Inhale and then exhale, bring the legs back together. Inhale, exhale, back together. Inhale, exhale, back. Adductor, inner thighs. If you need a little support, you can take your hands along your thighs so that when you come to the side, you don't feel like, ooh. One more. And then bring your legs together. Can you bring the soles of your feet together or even the inner big toe edge of the heel and the big toes? So either soles are together or try to touch the big toe edges. And then you're going to inhale and then exhale, draw your knees closer to the block and to your pelvis. Inhale to straighten. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Lots of nice leg work. Keep your legs strong. One of the major signs of healthy aging is strong legs. Last one. And then let's take one leg long and hold on to the opposite. You either hold on in the top of the shin or underneath the leg. So whatever's appropriate for you. And then if this is too intense, the stretch on the front of that hip, you could bend that knee a little bit. So lots of hip flexor stretching, going beyond that range of motion. Keep that hip joint nice and healthy. And for those with low back pain, maybe you've got tight hips pulling on your low back. Maybe you have instability in the pelvis. There's a lot of factors that can be contributing to that. So let's see what we can soften and loosen here to help you. Take your hand underneath your hamstring. Inhale and exhale. Try to move towards a straight knee. See if you're able to. Whatever you do, I want you to feel a lot of tension and a lot of stretch. Let's bend that knee, bend the opposite. Inhale, take the opposite leg out nice and long. Let it find its place to be. And then hold on to your opposite leg and then let everything soften. And of course, if you need to hold on underneath the hamstring, do that. Keeping our tissues nice and limber is a great way to be healthy as we age. And when we stretch our tissues, we actually hydrate them. We either hydrate the joint capsules or we hydrate all the wrapping material, the fascia, because stretching the fascia actually releases moisture. So we're giving ourselves an internal bath. One more breath. And then let's hold on underneath. Notice the sides of your body and what the deal is with them. Are they similar? And then let's bend our knees, both our knees. So I don't know about you guys, but when I do my knees, I hear like a creaky staircase. in my knees. It's crepitus is what they told me it's called. It's like the cobwebs or any kind of scar tissue that's developed. And I'm going to say I've lived a really active life, still do. And so I'm going to say that that's what it is. It's all that tennis and spinning and walking and running and gardening and everything that I've done, and dancing that has caused some of that stickiness to sound like creaky stairs. So I'm going to embrace it. Let's walk your feet closer to your pelvis. Push your feet into the floor. Now you're going to slowly, I want you to feel all the tension of your body resting on that hard surface. You're going to slowly peel yourself up and away. Bring the block out. Put your body back down. Reach up to grab your blanket. Put your blanket underneath your head. And then think about where you've been this last, 20 minutes or so. And notice if you actually left where you are, or were you in your body feeling and experiencing all the things that I mentioned. Okay, so that's important, is to notice what happens when we're so active in our body, and how our mentally we're not thinking about tomorrow and yesterday and da 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 da. We stayed really present moment in our body. All right, let's draw the knees into the chest, stretching the body, rocking side to side. Let the low back rest against the floor and rock side to side so you feel the top edge of your pelvis getting a nice massage. We're going to come into a little twist to wring out tension that may have happened in the back. So I'd like you to try, maybe you're going to need a block here. We're going to let our knees, starting off at our chest area. So we're going to bring the knees over to the side, and you may need to put the block underneath your legs or in between your legs to try to keep the opposite shoulder blade on the floor, right? That's what we're trying to do. So the knees are going in one direction. You're trying to keep that shoulder blade on the floor. Maybe you can, and maybe you can't. So allow whatever needs to happen in your body happen. Take your hand on your top leg if you can. Let your arm go nice and long. This is a twist here. Push your belly button back towards your spine, and then breathe down to your belly. Let your head go the opposite direction of your knees. Let the belly move as the breath comes down. Twist, twist, twist. Try to keep your shoulder blades on the floor if you can. Hopefully you feel a stretch in your hip area, maybe in your middle glute area. If you feel it in your low back, I want you to push your belly button strongly back towards your spine. So you turn on your core to help support your low back. Take one more breath. We're going to go to the other side. So twisting can feel really yummy. I'd like you to find yummy in your twist. Let's bring one knee up at a time and bring it up pretty high, because the muscles that are on the low back are attached to your legs. So when you move your legs, you're affecting your low back. So I want you to move slow and safe. Then put your feet on the floor, lift your pelvis up, let it go to where it goes. And then you're going to, maybe you need your block so you can have that handy, bring your knees up, and they're going to let your legs go in the opposite direction. Try to let that hip stay on, or sorry, not the hip, the shoulder blade stay on the ground. And then hold on to your top knee maybe. And let your arm go nice and long. Turn your head the opposite direction of your knees. And then deep breaths down to your belly. If you close your eyes, maybe you could feel a little spinal readjusting, a little self-chiropractic adjusting. Push your belly back towards your spine if you feel anything in the low back area, noticing the difference between the sides or the similarities. Take one more breath. We're going to slowly unwind. So it's important that you go slow also, because we're putting our body in positions you're normally not in. Push your feet into the floor, lift your pelvis up, then draw your knees into your chest. So when you come into these deep stretches, you're stretching your ligaments and your tendons. Ligaments hold the bones together, the tendons attach the muscles onto the bones. You're stretching them in ways you normally don't. So it's important to move slowly into and out of these deep stretches. All right, let's go ahead and grab your strap. Let's take the right foot up and place the strap around the right foot. Put the strap in the center of the arch and hold on pretty high. Right hand holds right strap, left hand holds left strap. Then you're going to pull on the left strap so that only the foot bends. Keep your kneecap pointing straight back. Your leg is staying super straight. So you might not get a big range of motion pulling on one strap and pulling on the other. You may not get a big range of motion. Don't try to get a lot of movement here if you don't have that in your ankle joint. What I really want is the leg bones to stay stationary and the ankle joint to move. So you're articulating your ankle joint, getting motion and mobility there. And then bring the strap to the top part of your foot. You're going to draw the leg down towards your body. Inhale, bend your knee a little bit, and then exhale to straighten. Inhale to bend, exhale to straighten. When you straighten your knee, push your knee away from you. So you really go into a nice deep extension in that knee, and you feel that in your calf. Last one, stay here. Push the knee away. Look at your knee and mentally push that kneecap away from you and pull the strap towards you. You may even experience this all the way down in your buttocks. Take one more breath. And then bend the knee, take the strap to the middle of your arch. You could keep the knee bent here or straighten the leg if you'd like, and then draw the leg back towards the wall behind you, stretching the hamstring, which is lower down the leg. This attaches to your pelvis and it may affect your low back. So keeping your hamstrings limber is good for low back health. For some of you, you may be able to reach up and grab your toe with a straight leg. Not everyone, I know. And the goal is not to do that if it's not appropriate, or even walk your hands closer to your foot. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's take the strap in the left hand. So you have the right foot is the one you're doing. So you're going to hold the strap with the opposite hand. Take the right arm out to the side. Keep the leg straight up off of your pelvis. And then you're going to inhale, guide the right leg, the whole leg bone, not just the foot. That upper leg bone, you want it to move. And feel the stretch on the outside of your hip joint. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. Let's take the strap off. Take that right leg and lengthen the right leg. The left leg is bent. Let that leg settle. Because remember, there's a muscle, the psoas, it's attached to the spine and the leg bone. So when we stretch the leg, we move the leg, it's affecting the back. So I wanted to take this break in between. And also for those with back issues, doing that separation can be really nice and releasing for chronic tension that shows up in our low back. All right, let's do the same thing with the opposite leg. So bend the right knee, draw the left knee in, take the strap and put the strap on the left foot. And right away, we're going to move the ankle joint. So you're going to make sure the kneecap faces backwards and the leg doesn't move, only the ankle joint moves. So you may feel this in your calf, Achilles tendon, calf, muscles of the ankle, of the feet, whatever it is, whatever you're feeling. And then bring the strap up to the widest part of your foot. And then you're going to inhale to bend, exhale, straighten. When you straighten, you're pushing your knee away from you. Inhale to bend, exhale, push your knee away from you. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Last one, stay here. Pull the strap towards you, push your kneecap away from you. And then go ahead and bend your knee. Let's take the strap down to the middle of the arch. We're going to stretch the hamstring, draw the leg back. Maybe your knee is slightly bent or maybe your leg is straight. If you have osteoporosis, keeping the knee bent will create bone stimulation in the pelvis as you pull on the pelvic bone with the hamstring muscle. And then remember, for those that can reach the toe with a straight leg, there's not very many people that have been able to do this in my classes, but there was a few. So like to offer that for those. It's a nice way for to see where your flexibility is and to maintain that flexibility for those that have quite a bit of flexibility or work towards getting more flexible. Take one more breath and then bring yourself out. Now we're going to do this side part of the body. This is good for that sciatic nerve. I didn't say this on the other side, but really for posterior hip replacements, I'd be careful with this one. And I have a posterior hip replacement, so I'm careful with this one on my left side. All right, hold your strap right above your pelvis. And then this upper leg bone is what you're thinking of guiding straight over towards the right. Feel that tension in the muscles and maybe even all the way up here. There's a big band of tissue here called the iliotibial band, attaches to the pelvic bone and then to the tibia in the lower leg. This part of your body, when it's tight or weak, can have a negative effect on knee joint health. And I observe it all the time in those I work with. Take one more breath. Bring yourself out of that. Let's bring one knee in and then the other. Take your legs up to the sky. See if you can work towards straight legs, having the knees be above your body as opposed to away from your body. Away from your body is really hard on the low back. You want your legs to be up. And for those that can flatten your soles of your feet up towards the sky and keep your legs straight, I'm going to say that this is something to work towards regardless of where you begin in your life, getting towards more straight. and getting that strength in your legs to come into this. Push your belly button towards your the floor. Try to flatten the low back into the floor to protect the low back. Take one more breath. And then let's bend the knees. Let's do a little bicycle action here, core work. So thinking about the core from the pubis bone all the way up the front of the body, right? Even though the core muscles, they say, are down here, let's get all this stabilizing in our body. Take your hands behind your head. Elbows are out to the side. Your knees are bent. And then lift your head straight up. Now, when we do the diagonal, it's not so much about crunching and coming really into a round position. It's about being up in this position and then diagonally rotating over. So it's more about getting your heart to tilt to the side than it is about getting your heart to tilt to the side and down. Okay, so the hands are behind your body. You're going to inhale, and then as you exhale, draw the left knee in and let the right elbow come over towards the left knee. And then the lengthening of the right leg depends on how strong your core is. Maybe it doesn't go as far away from you for some of you. Exhale, inhale. Oh, actually, come back to center. We exhale to rotate. So inhale. Now we're going to exhale, right knee in, left elbow. Inhale to come out. Exhale, right to the left. Inhale. Exhale. Lower and longer the leg goes away from you, the more intense that is for the core. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Remember, bend your knees more. Don't put your leg far away. If this is intense, you don't even need to lift your legs up off the floor, or you could have your feet on the floor and lift one knee up at a time. Or don't even lift the knees up. So please modify according to your needs and be okay with that. One more each side. And then bring yourself down. Let your feet go on the ground. That felt nice and intense. Go ahead and grab your block, separate your legs, hold on to your block like this. We're going to do upper body. Now, if you have osteoporosis, you don't want to shorten or round the very center of your spine. That's where half of all the fractures are. So when we come up and when we do this action here, you're going to keep your head. You're not going to let your chin come towards your chest or do too much rounding of your body. So you need to moderate that. I'm going to tell you that this one that we're going to do here strengthens the upper back and neck. It's also a lot of tension in the upper back and neck. So if you know you have issues in your upper back or neck and you're worried about triggering or stimulating something there, fold your blanket a lot right now. So fold it, fold it, fold it. So you begin with a lot of elevation in your head so that if you do lift your head up, it barely has to lift up, okay? And then vice versa, versa. More work is if your head is lower, right? So choose what's appropriate for you. Hold the block like this and it's widest. This is a shoulder, good for shoulder stability. And then palms are on the block, legs are wide. Let's inhale, the arms are long. Inhale here. Exhale, zipper up your midsection, lift your upper body off the floor and bring the block in between your knees. Inhale to lower. Exhale, firm up your core, try to flatten the right side of your low back to the floor, bring the block to the outside of the right knees. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. Exhale. To make this a little bit more intense, let your head and arms lift at the same time, then let your arms go away, then bring your arms back, then lower down. Head and arms go away, arms come back, and then you lower down. Head and arms go away, arms come back, and then you lower down. One time through all movements. When you finish with the left, rest. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Take your hands behind your head. Clasp your hands. Wrap your hands around your head. We're going to stretch our neck. So let your body be soft down below. And if you'd like to let your knees fall into each other, you're holding your head with your arms. You're not lifting up with muscles. You're going to tuck your chin towards your chest. Let your hands lift your head up to stretch the upper back and neck area. So don't lift your head with the muscles. Let the hands do the work. Go slow, close your eyes. Squeeze your head with your arms so that your arms are holding the weight of your head and lifting it up. Then we're going to do the side. So you're going to slide your head over to the right. You're holding onto your head with your elbows. You're going to turn your head so there's a rotation in your head towards the left. And then you let your arms lift your head up. Feel that stretch in the upper right side of your neck. Either stay up and hold or come in and out of it, whatever feels appropriate for you. Come down, slide over to the left with your body so your whole head slides over. Then you rotate your head to turn to the right, and then you hold your arms around your head, and then you lift your head up with your arms. And then bring yourself back to center. Take your arms, bring your knees into your chest, and then rock to your side. Stay here for a second. Let yourself calibrate here. Then you're going to take your hand. We're going to push away from the floor. Very important to maintain our upper body strength, especially for us girls. Push your hand into the floor and push yourself away. And the reason why I say that is because we don't quite have the muscle mass that men do. So it's not about being weaker. Because gosh knows we're not, ladies. Stronger sex, I would say. All right, come on to your blanket. I don't want tomatoes thrown at me. Come on to all fours. Let yourself settle here. We're going to stretch our upper body, and here is the thing about this. These are your hips, right? We had our hands on our hip bones earlier. Hip lights, if you had flashlights here, your hip lights. These are your heart lights. If you had flashlights here, it's your heart light. When we do rotation, we take the upper body and rotate it away from the lower. So the hip lights still stay facing forward, and the heart lights are going to rotate. When we're going to come on the ground, we're going to stretch our upper back, like right behind the shoulder blade area. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be rotating our upper trunk to the side. So let's come forward into puppy dog to stretch our spine, stretch our back. Hands are forward and wide. Tushy stays in the air, and then push your tushy back by bending your hips a little deeper. Let your forehead touch the floor. Let your arms be straight and push your arms into the floor. Feel a big stretch underneath your shoulders and your chest. If your head to touch the floor, your pelvis needs to be moving back and your hips need to bend deeply. If you cannot touch the floor with your head, you could try to put a block there. Feel a very deep stretch underneath the armpits when you do this. Push the heart towards the floor. Take one more breath. Now we're gonna do what's called thread the needle. So take one arm long and then bring the other one, the palm faces up towards your face. And then you're gonna slide it through with the intention of turning your heart in that direction. You could come up onto fingertips, tushy stays in the air, and try not to have your tushy right above your pelvis. Your tushy is moving backwards so that you're not putting pressure in your head. And then the arm that goes through, push into the back of the hand. Try to get the shoulder to lift away from the floor. And then push your hand into the floor and turn your chest to point away from you. Feel that stretch wherever you feel it. Lot of stretch behind the shoulder blade and behind the upper back on the side of the arm that's coming through. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bring yourself out. Let's go to the other side. Take that arm forward. Palm goes underneath you and you reach that hand away from you. Place your head on the floor. Tushy is moving back. Come onto the fingertips. Push the hand into the floor. Keep the shoulder away from the floor so you're not resting on your shoulder. Your shoulder's lifted away from the floor. You're pushing the back of the hand and the lower wrist on the floor. Let your pelvis be moving back and then rotate, rotate, rotate. Deep breath down to your belly. Keep pushing your arm in. Keep trying to turn your chest in the direction of the hand that's on the floor. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself up and out. Go slow. You can bring yourself up. Let your blood calibrate, right? Keeping ourselves safe. If you move too quickly, you're going to get dizzy. And especially when we're doing all that compression and stretching that's happening, we're affecting our blood flow. So you want to move slowly so that you set yourself up for success. And come forward. I want you to take your leg to the side like this, bent. So we're on one leg and try to get the other leg to be coming directly off your body. And that might be a challenge for some of you. And then take your arm on the inside of that knee so that your hearts and hip are facing forward and your knees out to the side. Inner thigh stretch. Take your opposite hand, back of the hand on the sacrum, which is the bone in the middle of your pelvic area near the top. And then lift up nice and tall here. Take one more breath. Hopefully you feel some stretching taking place. Push your heart forward. And then let's go to the other side. And anything we're doing here, maybe for some of you there's a balance aspect to this. Make sure that foot's perpendicular to your body. Arm is on the inside. You're coming straight off of that. And then take that hand, back of the hand goes onto the sacrum, and then let your chest come forward. Push, so you're pushing this hand into the leg to push that leg away. You're pushing your heart forward and you're trying to get your hips and your heart to face forward. Breathe down to your belly and you're nice and tall. So you may even feel a stretch here between the low ribs and the pelvis. And then you may feel a stretch in the front of the shoulder.
Take one more breath. And then you're gonna bring yourself out. So I wanna strengthen the muscles of posture. The way that the body works with posture at the back is muscles, is diagonal support. So we're gonna do a balancing cat. That's what it's called, for spinal balance. Knees are underneath the hips. Oh, we have to do our plank pose. We're doing 1 minute planks. Thank you to Lynn, who brought 1 minute planks back. She asked for it. Ask and ye shall receive, I say. Palms are on the floor, fingers are spread, press your fingers into the floor. Come into whatever variation of plank is good for you. So you may be able to come into the full plank, or you may need to do a modification. Whatever you're doing, I want you to push away from the floor. So feel the power in the push. Push your hands into the floor, push your feet into the floor. Feel how you're pushing away. You're so strong. And then push your body weight back so that the heels, the center of the heels, are really pushing away towards the ground. Nice and strong. If you want to add a little bit more, for those of you that do, lift up a foot and see if you could take the opposite hand off. And then go down. That's a challenge, I'm telling you. All right, lift the foot and try to do opposite. And then bring your hand down. Push away from the floor and then bring yourself down. So that was crazy. Yes, to do that diagonal is a lot. So I know that that's like maybe something you're working towards. And I recommend you do work towards things, because you always can get stronger. And I observe it all the time. I don't care who you are or what your issues are. It doesn't mean that you can't do it, because I watch it all the time for years and years. And I know in my body, I was not able to lift 1 foot off of the floor when I had my hip issues, because my body was too weak. My hip flexors and my quads were too weak. And so I slowly but surely built myself back up. And now lifting my leg off the floor each side is easier, because I've worked towards that. All right, maybe you need to come to fists for wrists because your fists are not liking this. That'll help, or roll up the top of your mat. Do whatever you need to do. Let's take right hand forward, left leg back. Inhale, lift the right arm off, lift the left leg off. Try to point the left toes away from you. Reach the right fingertips away. Thumb is up towards the sky, palm is inward. Lift your leg and your arm as high as you can comfortably in your body. Push your belly button back towards your spine, strengthening the upper right and the lower left side of the body to help with posture. Push your left hand into the floor. So here we're going more for lifting. Take one more breath and then go ahead and bring them down on the ground. Let's slide the left hand away, the right leg. Inhale to lift. Reach that left hand up, reach that right leg up. Palm faces inward, thumbs up towards the sky. And then lift as high as you can. Make sure you protect your low back, push your belly button towards your spine. Take one more breath. And then go ahead, bring yourself down. So we're going to end with a little balancing breath, because we got carried away with all of our stuff we were doing. So come into whatever seated position is comfortable for you. Crisscross legs or bent knees like this if you can. Bring your hands one inside of the other like this. Thumbs touch. Let your hands rest. We're going to do a balanced breath. We're going to do Sukha Pranayama. 6 on the inhale, 6 on the exhale. I'll guide you through a few rounds and then you will count yourself. Take a breath to prepare. Inhale and exhale. Begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Continue counting on your own. 6 on your inhale, 6 on your exhale. Take one more breath. We're going to move slowly down into our Shavasana position, the posture that integrates all that we did, the balancing of the physical energy, the balancing of the mental energy. So bring yourself down onto the ground, gather whatever you need, keep your eyes closed if you can, and find yourself into a totally nice position on your back to finish the practice.
Bring your awareness to your body, feeling, noticing all the lengthening, the movement, and the strengthening that just took place. Let's wiggle our fingers and our toes. And then bend the knees, draw the knees in one at a time, rocking side to side. And then onto your side, where you gently push or strongly push yourself up to a seated position.
Closing your eyes, take your hands together, the thumbs touch your sternum bone. The practice of yoga is a practice of self-care. It's a lifestyle practice, something we do so that as long as we live in this body, it will be as happy and healthy and mobile as it can be, because that is how we will be able to live the life we want. And the opposite, not fun, not an option, and something that we don't want in our lives. So taking the time out to show up, such an act of self-care. We'll close with Om, blending the ah, o, Mouth is open, moving towards close, which makes those vowel sounds during your exhale. Let's prepare by taking a big exhale. Inhale all the way down to your pelvis. Bowing in gratitude and namaste. Thank you. Hopefully you feel good, and hopefully you see how the physical practice grounds the mental energy, because you're so present moment when you're in it, feeling it, experiencing it. And then all the physical energy, we either for this present moment get it to be in a good functional working space, and for the future we prepare by keeping this strong and mobile and limber. So thank you. Practice every day. Something doesn't have to be a whole hour practice. It could be one breath, one movement, whatever it is. Just practice yoga every day. That's my recommendation. All right. Martha, I see that you're here. I didn't know you were here. Great. Wow, tornado. Is that normal? to have tornadoes in Chicago? I don't know, but I'm just assuming with all the other wackadoo weather things that are happening, that's not a normal thing. Hi, Vi, I didn't know you were here. Doesn't matter, better late than never. And I'm so happy you're here. I didn't know you were here either. Happy to have you. You're welcome. Decompression. Good, Michael. Although I consider you to be a super chill guy. I don't know much about you other than classes, but I think you're somebody that knows how to be a duck, you know, where you let everything roll off you and you're not super reactive to things. You're kind of chill. So I don't know if I'm right or not. That's what I think. Good, Dina. Thank you. Yes. Okay, good, Nancy. I think about you a lot with this. Not normal. Wow. That's crazy. Okay, yeah, crazy. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to have you here. I feel great. I really feel super great. My whole body feels good. And I hope you guys do too. Good, Lynn. And I was thinking about Dave. And and even you, Lynn, because I thought Lynn can grab her toe. I think you can. All right. Anyway, everybody have a beautiful day. My dahlias are showing up. My tomatoes are showing up. Such a nice, beautiful time of the year. All right. Lynn, right? I know you can. Oh, and you guys could thank Lynn for the 1 minute. And I know Michael probably could do the one arm, one leg thing when he's doing plank. All right. Anyway, like, subscribe, and have a beautiful day. All right. Bye, everyone.